Be back here again live and see the give another lesson. Good morning to everybody. Ramin from the American Institute here again. So now we're talking about English proficiency exam. What is that? Let's talk about that. Let's go to the next slide and examine what's going on. So on the next slide, so the thing is that the English proficiency exam, there are several of them all around the world, and they are accepted in different parts of the world for different things. So I will mention about maybe 10 of them so that you could be familiar. Of course, there are more. I'm just going to mention the most popular 10. Let's go to the next slide and see what else is missing. What we have here. Next slide, please. Okay, so now you could see in this slide basically most of the tests that you're familiar with, most of the tests that you have taken, wanting to take, you're about to take, and you have seen around other people talking about and taking it. So let's go one by one and see what's going on. Next slide, please, and let's go one by one and see what are some of those tests. Now, first, TOEFL, it's an American test. Basically, it's the same thing as IELTS, and what it is basically is called a test of English as a second language. As a foreign language. And what is the purpose of this? The purpose is to get admitted to university. Also, the other section, the sections that they take the test are reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Okay, and it's just as the IELTS, and then they come in two formats. They are internet-based or they are paper-based. So it's the same thing as IELTS. Let's go to the next one. Next slide, please, and delve a little bit deeper into what our next choices are. Next slide, please. Next slide. And then in here we will see, as you all are familiar with, IELTS. Okay, IELTS, of course, is International English Language Testing System. And then this has about 3 or 4 different sections, and reading, writing, of course, speaking, and reading, writing, yes. So all of these things, and then in listening, of course. So we have the IELTS exam, which is very popular here among a lot of people here, and they are taking it. Now this, while TOEFL is accepted mostly in the US, we have IELTS being accepted US, UK, and Australia, Canada, so more people are taking it, but you can just as well take TOEFL as well. Okay, so the next one that we are dealing with is PTE, which is called Pearson Test of English Academic. So the purpose of this is study abroad and for immigration purposes. Now, this basically has different sections. The sections are speaking, writing, reading, and listening. And the format is only computer-based. So there's something else you might know. Let's go to the next slide, please. And the next slide is Cambridge English Exam. So you've heard of this, they call it Cambridge exam or whatever. So basically that's what it is. And the purpose is education, it's immigration, and also professional purposes. So if you're going to a job or something else, this is the one that you need to take. Now there are different levels for this. The level basically is the first level, advanced level, and the proficiency level. And that's that. So let's go to the next one. And of course it comes in paper and also in computer format. Next slide, please. And let's delve into number 5. Now, number 5, this is an emerging and new upcoming test. It's called Duolingo English test. It's mostly in the US, but it's actually gaining momentum in other places as well. So the purpose of this is usually university admission. And they have different sections: reading section, writing section, listening, and speaking section. Now, the formats are different ones. So you have online, and you can also take it home. And that's an interesting way of dealing with things. But that's what they have, and it's just gaining more and more momentum and more people knowing about it. Let's go to the next slide, please, number 6, and examine some of those the remaining choices that we have now. Now we have TOEIC. Now TOEIC is test of English for international communication. Now, it might be a little bit less, you guys might be less familiar with this, but TOEIC is also one of those exams, so the purpose is business and professional. So if you want to get into some business, or if you already have a business and you need to apply for a visa or something, this is the test that you will take. Sections are listening and reading mostly. Now, optional speaking and writing they have, but you could just go to listening and reading. If you can read and if you can listen, then you can speak and you can write. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're making it, because it's business, they're making it cutthroat, they're making it short so that you could actually, you would have the necessary skills in order to succeed in the job that you're in. And obviously it's both paper and computer based. So you could go to some place, you could do it from home, or you could do it from the testing center. Okay, so let's go to number 7, to the next slide, and see what we have there. Now something else called MELAB. MELAB is something that's called Michigan English Language Assessment Battery. Now, battery usually means the pole. It also means poles, two poles, aligned with each other. And we will find out more about that. So basically what it is, the purpose is university and professional. So if you're going to university or if you're working, then you need to take this exam. Now, Michigan, of course, is in northern United States. So it's an American test, and it's popular. Now the sections are listening, reading, and speaking. Okay, so it doesn't have writing in it. So it's assumed that if you can read, you can also write, and if you can listen and speak, you can also write. But in this case, it's not really important. But of course, one of the things that we teach at the American Institute is writing, because if you can do good writing, then you can do everything else. Okay, and it's also, so MELAB is just paper based. So remember that. Now let's go on to the next slide and see what other options do we have for number 8. Now we have something called CELPIP. Now CELPIP basically is a Canadian English Language Proficiency Index program. That stands for. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of this? It's immigration. If you want to go to Canada, then you need to take this exam, or if you're going there for work or for immigration. These are the two main reasons why you take this exam, and your employer or the government of Canada is going to assign this to you, that you need to take this exam. Now the format is only computer based. Okay, and that's important because a lot of people are abroad, and it's much better to take it as a computer-based. Let's go to the next slide, please. And we're coming closer to the end of our slide. So number 9, please. Let's go to the next slide and see what we have there. Okay, now this is something that is not really I think a lot of you have heard of it, especially if you are an English ESOL stands for English for speakers of other languages. So basically, if you're a teacher and you want to have a proficiency in English, this is what you take. Now, in the US, we have something else that's called ESL. It's the same thing. English as a second language is the same thing, that your proficiency as teaching English is going to be measured, basically. So the purpose is exam for different purpose of academic and professional. So there are different levels that they have, and depending from beginner to advanced. And if you actually get ESOL certificate, you can definitely teach in schools and in courses and whatnot. Okay, so that's ESOL and ESL are the same. Please remember that. And let's go to the next one. Next slide, please. And in the next slide, I'm sure you have heard of SATs and ACTs, and they are standardized test widely used in the US. Now, both exams assess students' readiness for college. Now, so if you're in high school, you take this. Now, I took SATs when I was in school in New York, and obviously anybody who wants to go to college, any student, I mean, they will take this. But you have to be under like 18 or 21 or something like that. Over that, there is something else in the US, it's called GED that you need to take. First, you need to have your GED, and then you need to take this SAT to go to college. So now these are, so let's a little bit know more about the next slide, please, and let's talk about SATs and ACTs and what they are. Now, SAT stands for Scholastic Assessment Test, okay? And this is basically section is reading, writing, math, and you have an optional of essay. Okay, now let me tell you something about this. Now you can get a score, minimum score of 400 to 1600. So it's a long, like 3-hour test. I remember taking it. It made me crazy. I couldn't really move my hands after that. It was 3 hours of writing. Okay, and then you have to read, you have to do this fast because each one, like for example, reading is timed. You have like 1 hour or 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then boom, you go to writing. Then you go to something else. So it's like that. So you need to, one of the things that are in all exams, and we tell all our students to do basically is just read fast, write fast, and then select. Go to the ones that you actually know first, and then come back to the ones and guess the ones that you don't know. That is the right way to do this. The duration, as I said, is 3 hours. Now, if you want to take the essay, if you want to do the writing, then they give you an additional 50 minutes. And of course, this is, the essay is separate from the 1600. Okay, so they're not gonna, if you get more, they're not gonna add it to the 1600. It's going to be scored separately. So they will say that, for everything else, they got, this person got this much, and for essay is this much. Okay. Now, if you feel like staying there for 4 hours and taking basically an extra hour of taking the essay, more power to you, but you don't really need to do that. Okay. Let's go to ACT and to the final one and see what we get now. Now, ACT is kind of replacement for SAT, and it basically is American college testing, so it's becoming a little bit more popular, and the sections are the English, math, reading, science, and you have optional writing. Now, obviously, you have to be a little bit more well-rounded to take this because science is included and you get more out of this. In each section, for example, the math, the reading, all of that is 36 points. So there's 36 questions, you have to answer them, and you go boom, boom, boom. It's about 3 hours. And then, of course, you have writing is extra. If you want to take the writing, you basically spend another 40 minutes to take this exam. Okay, this is becoming a little bit more popular, but it doesn't matter if you take SATs or ACTs, they're all the same. And at the end, I want to say the good news is that the American Institute can help you with any and all of them. I wish you good luck, and I see